Ireland. I'm going to speak to a man who is, well, I suppose one of the premier DJs in Ireland. Garvin Rigby joins me on the line. Garvin, good morning to you.
Morning, Adrian. How's it going?
Good, thanks, Garvin. Now, can I get your reaction to this announcement that the minister has announced that live performance will be banned from pubs and restaurants and for the foreseeable future, weddings as well? What is your reaction to that?
Yeah, so we're kind of shocked. I think most people in entertainment are very shocked about this because we're going way backwards. I mean, last year, during summer, even during level 3, you could have a quiz in a bar, you could have dancing at a wedding, but those things are now gone. You cannot dance at a wedding, no loud music, no live performances. So it's basically taken out of weddings and out of bars and restaurants and hotels. So there's no entertainment whatsoever allowed. So it basically affects everyone in the entertainment business, from bands to DJs to karaoke hosts, you name it. Everything is gone. Again, it's gone backwards. We're gone a year backwards now.
Okay, so looking at this summer, we're in a worse position than we were last summer, where, as Jeremy was explaining a moment ago, you could have live music in a very controlled way, but there was a bit of music. There was a DJ here and there. So we will be in a worse position if this is to continue.
Correct. Yeah. So we're definitely worse off. And what's amazing is that with the vaccination rollout now, most people come from the late 40s onwards now have been vaccinated or are getting vaccinated now before June.
In fact, the minister only yesterday said that by the end of this week, 50% of the adult population of Ireland will have received at least one dose of a vaccine, which is, a sign of progress.
Well, absolutely. And again, the main thing about it, all the research shows, I mean, even like last week's survey in the UK last week was that live events are no different or no less safe than going shopping, if it's in a proper controlled environment, which most things have been last year with hotels and dancing and social distancing. So from a point of view of entertainment, for example, you could, and again, I'm thinking from all entertainers' point of view, not just DJs as well, but you could have a quiz last year in a bar. You could do a quiz like we did loads of quizzes last year in bars. You could have a DJ at a wedding, under 50 people, even in level 3, under 25 people at a wedding. Last year, you could have dancing. It was the only place you were allowed to dance in Ireland last year was literally legally at a wedding, right? That's now gone as well. So we've gone backwards, but yes, we're supposed to be going forwards from a point of view of vaccinations, of people's entertainment, and people going back to normality. So the other thing is, of course, is that people aren't getting the grants and aren't getting support, because there's talk today about the pub being cancelled from September, October, roll back on that. And there's still no vision of how those people are going to get back to work if there's no clear pathway to that. And the second thing is things like, for example, the music and entertainment business assistance scheme, the MEBAS. That hasn't seemed to have started yet either. That's supposed to be started in April, but there's nowhere online. We can't find any information about that when that's actually coming in place. So people in business are suffering as well. Those entertainers and businesses, and also people's weddings. And here's the problem, Adrian, as well. It seems to be guidelines as opposed to regulation. Hotels are giving different opinions to different people. Some people have been told, yeah, you can have an acoustic band. So two people on a guitar. You can have a DJ who's not DJing, as in there's no dancing. So you can have some entertainment, but there can't be any entertainment that's loud. There can be no dancing. Or yes, you have dancing, but you can only have your own Spotify. So what's the clear line? There is no clear line.
So if I'm having a wedding over the next couple of weeks, and we know loads of people from last year put their wedding off to this year, some may still be planning to go ahead with hotels reopening at the start of June. But what you're telling me is, if you are having a wedding, you may not be able to have a DJ, you may not be able to have a band, you just sit around drinking a glass of wine and saying goodnight to all your friends.
That's basically it, yeah. So the curfew is still in place as well, like last year, 11, I think it's 11 and 11:30. But you cannot have, according to Hotels Federation Board Fáilte, you cannot have, they're saying is loud music or live entertainment. Now, what's live? Are you considering live, is that a live musician or is it a DJ? So again, there's a gray area there. Can you have someone playing music who's DJing? There's no guarantee on that. So the hotels themselves are telling brides and grooms for weddings, first of all, and let alone bars, but just for the wedding. And some of these people, by the way, have planned the wedding 3 or 4 times.
Absolutely, yeah.
Rearranged, cancelled, rearranged. And they've been told now, you can maybe have some entertainment. Maybe you can have someone who's playing music, but they can't then dance. Is a host an entertainer? Someone who's doing, like, say, a game show? Is that an entertainer? Is that a live performance? It's a grey area. No one knows. So some people, again, from all the wedding chats on Facebook and Wedding Collide, all these different places, people are chatting at the moment. They've been told, the brides and grooms have been told different things by different hotels. And it's a regulation versus a guideline. Which is it? Nobody knows.
All right. Well, on that note of confusion, Gavin Rigby, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. We really appreciate your time today. And we'd love to hear from you. Send us a WhatsApp to 085 825 2626. 085 825 2626. As you could hear, Jeremy, from Garvin there, this is very confusing. Oh. Nobody knows whether you can play music or have a dance at your wedding, or it's just a mess.
I just got a text. I got a text from a friend of mine who is a pianist, and he does some part-time work in restaurants. He goes to kind of upscale restaurants where he'll sit in the corner of the restaurant. He does one in North County Dublin, where he'll sit in the corner of the restaurant on a Saturday night and a Friday night, and he'll play some mellow tunes on the piano. And he's after telling me that he got a text from the owner of the restaurant yesterday to say, sorry, you're not coming back. So how bizarre is that you can't have a man playing a piano in the corner of a restaurant? How in God's name is that going to cause the spread of COVID? A man playing a piano in the corner of a restaurant?
We'd love to hear from you. Send us a WhatsApp to 085 825 2626 and get your reaction. So if you've just joined us, this is the story that the Arts and Culture Minister has defended new rules which ban music in pubs, restaurants and hotels for several more months, while musicians have said, as you just heard from Garvin, that the guidelines are frustrated. And it just seems laughable that they're going to allow hotels open in a couple of weeks. And for a few weeks, you're going to have a very confused situation where a hotel is open. They can have their restaurant open, but they can only serve people who are staying in the hotel. So if you happen to stroll into a hotel and say, can I have a bite to eat? No, you can't. You're not staying here. So tough. So that's one confusing rule that's happening over the next couple of weeks. But then if you, when the bars open for outdoors, a couple of weeks on the 7th of June, you can't have any music. None. Which just seems bizarre. Send us a WhatsApp to 085 825 2626 and let us know your reaction. And if you're watching us on Facebook, please share this video onto your own Facebook page so that others can see that we're having this conversation. And if you are planning to get married, or maybe you have gotten married and had a small wedding, you can send us a WhatsApp voice note, please, to 085 825 2626.
Now, let me address a comment that just came in on our Facebook page from Claire, who we've invited to send a message into us, and I hope you do, Claire. And she says, lads, you boasted about getting your jabs for nothing. Okay, let me address that point, because I was talking about this on Twitter yesterday, because I was very frustrated when I heard the news of the hospitality sector and how backward we are compared to what's happening in the UK. Claire, I am getting the vaccine for many reasons. One of them is so that I can get my life back to normal and get back into the pub or go back on holidays. That's not the only reason I'm getting the vaccine. Don't be so narrow-sighted and narrow-minded. One of the main reasons I'm getting the vaccine is to protect my mother, who is elderly, and to protect my mother-in-law, who's elderly, and to protect friends of mine who are at high risk and who I would not want to pass COVID onto. That's the reason I'm getting the vaccine. But yeah, I do agree with you, Claire. I'm frustrated because we were sold this kind of promise, get vaccinated, get the country vaccinated, and we can get some bit of normality back to life. I'm sorry, being told to get out of a pub at 11:30 at night is not normality. And the only thing that's going to do, and I saw it last year with my own eyes when I was DJing in pubs last year when they reopened, I saw it with my own eyes. You were calling last drinks at 11:30, which is ridiculous. which was ridiculous. What's it claiming? That it's more difficult to get COVID after 11:30? And what people were doing was they were getting up out of their seats in the pub and they were going, Adrian, Jesus, isn't it? It's a pain in the arse that the pub is closed now. Do you want to come back to our house? We have a couple of bottles back in their house. And people were all going back to mix in houses. It makes, whoever came up with these rules clearly has no idea how socializing works or how the entertainment industry and the hospitality industry works.
All right, we'd like to hear from you. Send us a WhatsApp to 085 825 2626. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note sent into that number by Darren.
Morning, Adrian and Jeremy. This is just absolutely farcical at this stage. No live music, curfews, and a time limit. Makes absolutely no sense at all. We're pretty much living this summer with the exact same restrictions as last summer, even though 80% of the population will be vaccinated by the end of June. How does this make any sense? And why is no one putting massive pressure on the government to tell us how this does make sense? Complete disaster.
It is a disaster, I have to say. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. We'd love to get your reaction to this story. And this is the big story today, that there will be no music in pubs, in restaurants, or at weddings even. And it seems to be even more confusing. So outdoor dining is permitted from the 7th of June. Now, if we've weather like we have today, that'll be grand. If we don't have weather like today, if we have weather like last week, there will be no outdoor dining. But even if there is, there'll be no music. There'll be no DJ in an outdoor area. There'll be no band. There'll be no karaoke singer. There'll be nothing.
I understand, by the way, I understand a cautious approach to reopening the country. Yes. I completely understand. I think most people do.
And this is the argument, by the way, that what the government are doing is they are being cautious, but they want us to reopen and never have to close again.
I get that. But what happened in January? After we all ran amok at Christmas? Yeah. We did not have any people vaccinated in January. And we have to remember that. We know many vaccines have been handed out at this stage, over 2 million vaccines. I mean, we all know somebody in our circle of friends and our family who's been vaccinated. I can name 10 people within my family circle who've now been vaccinated. You have had your first jab. I'm hoping to get mine in the next couple of weeks. But to what end? If vulnerable people and elderly people are vaccinated, and these are the people that we wanted to protect, if they're now vaccinated, what is holding us back? That's what I don't understand.
All right, send us a WhatsApp, please, with your reaction to this story to 085 825 2626. This is the announcement that there will be no live performances permitted at wedding receptions, in bars, in restaurants, because music spreads COVID, is really the argument that we're being told here. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Let's have a listen to this. This is Sandra, who also can't understand this at all.
Good morning, Sandra here. Yeah, I was looking on Facebook about the ban on music in the pubs. The music industry are going to lose out big time anyway. Imagine you going into a pub and you're having your meal and you're having a glass of wine or whatever. You would like to have somebody over in the corner, playing music. So that means that there's going to be no parties, 24 hours. What about hotels for weddings and stuff like that? The music industry is completely gone because of this. It is absolutely ridiculous. What is your point in going out anymore? It's not worth it.
And who wants to get married as well? Who wants to get married and your afters is a Spotify playlist on your phone in the corner of the room? That's no way to celebrate. How do you even do your first dance? Who do you even have to introduce? When I got married, the DJ said, and now let's have the bride and groom up onto the floor for the first dance. How can that even happen?
Yeah, maybe you play music in your headphones and you dance around a little circle together or something. I don't know.
What's that called, actually? Can anybody remember what these were cute? Maybe this is the future. Can anybody remember what this was called a few years ago? And it was all the rage. And I remember going to one once and I found it bizarre, where you go into a nightclub. Have you ever heard of this, Adrian? Where you go into a nightclub and everybody has a different set of headphones on, and the music is literally just through your headphones, so it's not live music playing. I can't remember what it was called, but didn't we go to a night one night in a nightclub where we were doing that, and it was bizarre to see. So the nightclub was completely quiet, and everybody was going around just with a pair of headphones on, and they could hear their own music. I mean, is that the future?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
The bride and groom up for their first dance wearing a pair of Beats by Dre headphones on, like bizarre.
Keep your messages coming into us, please. 085 825 2626. There will be no live music in bars, in restaurants, and at weddings for the foreseeable future as the government attempt to reopen the country in a small way. I just want to say hi, by the way, to Adele McGrath, who is watching us on Facebook. Adele, how are you? Thanks very much indeed for sending us stars. And also Tomas and Chris and Paddy, they've all sent us in stars, which you can do if you're watching us on our Facebook page. And they help us a little bit in doing what we're doing at the moment and putting our new studio together and all of that, which is making rapid progress. Okay, let's have a listen to this.
Sorry, it's called, sorry, someone just messaged. It's called a quiet disco because it's completely quiet.
Oh, yeah, a silent disco, I call it.
No, quiet. Well, whatever it's called anyway. That's the way forward. If you're getting married in 2021, get your guests, instead of giving them anything else, just get them all a pair of headphones, okay? Every wedding guest gets a pair of headphones. There you go.
All right, David has a theory.
Morning, lads. Just on what Jeremy was saying there about that guy, his friend that was playing the piano and he's not allowed in the restaurant anymore. I think possibly, and now I might be wrong about this, but I think the subtle tones of the piano keys seem to aggravate the protein that is in the strain of the COVID virus. And the tones of the piano make the virus much more aggressive and it will attack a lot more people. But then again, I might be wrong.
Right, it's something to do with the ivories on the piano.
Is that what it is? So
yeah,
you're playing the piano and it's somehow aggravating the COVID. Is that the way?
Yeah.
You know, we can laugh about this and all that, and you know, some bits of it are funny, but it's tragic as well because there's so many musicians who haven't been working. And I mean, there's a lot of people who haven't been affected by the pandemic, who haven't lost their jobs, who've kept their jobs, who've kept the same wages, the whole lot, and they will not understand the hardship that other people are going through. Like a wedding DJ who hasn't been able to work for the last year and a half, maybe got a few gigs late last year, but other than that has been sitting at home twiddling his thumbs. Like it's crazy, it really is.
085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Please send us a WhatsApp voice note with your reaction to the fact that no live performances will be permitted when we start to reopen things slowly but surely. Laura is an aforementioned wedding singer.
Good morning, Adrian and Jeremy. Laura Colgan here, wedding singer based in County Meath. Yes, once again, very disappointed with the latest guidelines. We've been given no clarity and I'm unsure as to why we keep being disregarded in that respect as well. I don't know why wedding music can't go ahead, especially for weddings, live music. It's always been done in a safe manner. And as we all know, bands really do make a wedding and music unites us in a lot of ways. It's quite frustrating as we haven't even been given a chance to try and adapt to any sort of a situation, nor have we been given a roadmap. So I'm interested to see what all your listeners think, and hopefully we can try and get some sort of normality back, because thousands upon thousands of musicians across the country, their livelihoods has been affected and something has to give. As I said, everybody has to be responsible for themselves, and I think it's time that we are given that chance. Bands are businesses too, so let's see what your listeners think, and thank you so much.
All right, Laura, thanks very much for your message. And I mean, there's a great example of somebody who literally hasn't worked, bar a couple of gigs last year.
Well, Laura, good luck to you getting clarity on this, because 1.9 million doses of vaccine have been given out, and it just appears to me that nothing is going to change in the way we live our lives. If anybody can explain as well, there's a couple of messages coming in on Facebook about the 11:30 closing. Why is there a 11:30 closing? I don't have the answer. Again, I've been picking my brain trying to work out why businesses have to close at 11:30, because the only thing that's going to do, and it did it last year, I saw with my own two eyes, is closing. People don't want to go home at 11:30. That's the bottom line. Unless you're in your 60s or whatever. Young people do not want to go home at 11:30. And what they're just going to do is go to house parties. They're going to congregate outside. They're going to congregate on the street. Would it not be safer to have them in a restaurant or in a pub, in a beer garden, where they are sitting at separate tables?
085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Kira sent us this WhatsApp voice note, and Kira is also a singer.
Hi, Adrian and Jeremy. Kira here. Yeah, just listen, very interesting what you're talking this morning. I'm a singer. I've gigged since I was 18 in bands, on and off different bands all my life, and music has been my life, and it's a big part of what I do. And you know, to hear this news of live music being banned, it's just such discrimination towards all artists, all musicians, all DJs, and all people in the entertainment business. It's just an absolute disgrace. And there just seems to be absolutely no logic whatsoever. It's just about control at this stage, I think. And like, people have been through enough. Like, you know, people need a little bit of joy in their lives. Don't see the big deal about having them. Like, you know, you can have a full shopping centre. Like, they could have a perspex screen for the musicians. I just don't think there's any need for these rules. Also, there is an organisation called Minding Creative Minds. It's for all artists and musicians during this time. They have information about funding. They have information about they've free counselling, and they've information about grants and stuff that can support people during this time. It's on monthly if people want to Google Minding Creative Minds. It's a great organisation. Okay, lads, best luck with the new studio, and talk soon.
Thanks very much indeed, Kira. A lot of messages coming in on this. People just can't get their heads around why this is happening. People believing it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to have music banned from bars, restaurants, and for weddings.
What's the situation? What's the situation in the north? Obviously, their hospitality is open and has been flying the last couple of weeks. I don't know. Are they allowed to have live music?
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that. I'm actually going to Derry tomorrow afternoon, so I will report.
That's very random. What are you doing going to Derry?
Going to meet friends, spend a bit of time.
You've never mentioned having friends in Derry. No, there's something fishy going on there.
There isn't. We're going up to Derry tomorrow, so the hospitality up there is open. I will let you know tomorrow what it's like and whether or not there's music, whether it's outdoor or indoor. We'll see. David sent us this WhatsApp voice note to 085 825 2626.
Hey, Adrian and Jeremy, Dave here. I just wanted to say, since COVID has started, I haven't lost a step. All my business is taken care of online. In fact, I've probably had a better setup now that I'm able to work from home rather than having to go into an office. But I have to say my heart goes out to all the DJs, all the musicians, all the live acts, everyone who's in the entertainment industry, comedians. It's been so hard on these people. And now there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. The government should be doing everything to get these people back into work, back earning money, and delaying them because of silly little things. It's just going to make people really angry and rebel even more. If they start giving people a little bit more respect and just start allowing things to reopen that make sense to be reopened, I think people will take it more serious. It's when they make up silly little rules that don't make any sense and they expect people just to go along with them with like robots. And that's where people seem to have a big problem. And I have to say, I'm really sorry for all these people who are in those industries, and I hope it gets sorted out soon.
Absolutely. And I mean, David, you make a very valid point that some people haven't been affected at all by COVID. In fact, if anything, as you said yourself, David, your own business has actually flourished during COVID times. For others, like musicians, like Laura, the wedding singer we heard from a couple of minutes ago, they literally haven't worked in a year or more. We keep saying a year. It's actually not. It's now 15 months.
15 months, yeah. No, but according to the spiel that we've been hearing for the last year and a half is we're all in this together. We've never been in this together. There's been no fairness in this. There really hasn't, because there are people who have done very well in the last year and a half, and then there are people whose lives have been decimated by this, who literally can't afford to keep a roof over their head, and that's not all in this together. I'm sorry, it's not. All
right, very quickly, if you've an opinion you want to throw into this, send us a WhatsApp voice note to 085 825 2626. 085 825 2626. Shannon Devereaux, thank you very much indeed. And to Audrey Edwards, they've all sent us stars on our Facebook page. And thank you very much indeed for doing that. The stars help in a little small way towards us realizing our goal of doing our own thing from our own studio, which we'll be doing very, very shortly. Now, Dylan sent me this message. Dylan can understand the cautious approach.
How you doing, lads? Dylan here. I have a funny feeling that no music in restaurants and pubs probably has a reason to do with we haven't even reached 50% of the population having their first dose. And they say once we have like 70%, it's sort of classified as herd immunity. So maybe it has something to do with that, and maybe later in the summer we'll probably see a return to live music.
Yeah, I know, but like Jeremy said earlier on, we all know so many people who have been vaccinated already, some who've been fully vaccinated, and in other countries, in places like Israel,
by the way, 10%, just under 11% of Irish people have been fully vaccinated now, so it's a fairly high percentage.
Yeah, no, we're getting there. We are getting there. It's slow, but we're getting there.
But the line.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, the line from the government over the last couple of months leading up to summer has been outdoors. Everybody needs to think outdoors. Outdoors is where it's at. That's where we need to be. If you stay outdoors, things will go okay. And now they're kind of telling us, well, yeah, we're letting you do stuff outdoors, but you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the other, you know?
Yeah. All right, we've a few more messages to play. Let's have a listen to this from Nicola.
Hey lads, it's Nicola here. I am a full-time musician and I manage 3 wedding bands with my partner. And yeah, just as Laura was saying to you there before, it's just been an absolute nightmare of a year. Our work is completely gone, from under our feet, literally just overnight. And there isn't a clear roadmap at all. There hasn't been any testing of us going back, like doing like a test gig or something like that. The only explanation that I have is that at weddings, people just they like alcohol, obviously, and like to have a good time. And I think that that's the one of the major issues, that they'll grab the microphone and try and talk into the mic, or they'll just put your arm around you and this kind of thing. So I'd say just to prevent that from happening, they're just putting this like rule across the whole board of no live music, even if it is just a piano player in the corner playing quietly, background music for dinner. It's just one rule for all. But like there needs to be some sort of testing coming into play to let us get back to work. Everywhere else is opening back up. What about us? Thanks a million, guys.
All right, Nicola, thanks very much indeed. And like I said, my heart goes out to people who literally have not worked in over 15 months. It really is very, very difficult. And I think the mixed messaging as well. No music without a proper explanation.
I've bad news for you, by the way. I know you're heading up to Derry at the weekend, and you're looking forward to. You still haven't told us what you're doing up there, but
it's irrelevant. But go on.
Well, I think it's very relevant, actually. Dancing and live music are not permitted in pub beer gardens in the north since they reopened, according to Stormond's coronavirus regulations. So, if you were planning to go up to Derry and have a bit of dance with the Derry girls, it's not happening. So you're going to be sitting. And I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but there is nothing worse than sitting in a pub when there's no music. You know, if you go into Wetherspoons, Wetherspoons don't do the music.
There's nothing. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
It's just you need some sort of music in the background to enjoy yourself in a pub.
All right, a couple more messages. By the way, thank you very much indeed to Sharon Farrell Roach and to Verona Nicola Edwards, both double-barreled names. Very good. Thanks very much indeed for sending us stars on our Facebook page. We're very grateful to you. Now, Sharon has a theory about live music.
Morning, guys. Hi, yeah, it's so unfair about the weddings, but I'm thinking along the lines of maybe they don't want people up dancing. They don't want anybody jumping all around the place, singing out, maybe spitting, sweating all over each other, down on the ground doing rock the boat. So I think the way the government along the lines are is as much, contact as possible away from each other, as opposed to having bands where people are with a few drinks on them. Not going to lie, I probably would as well, would be up bouncing around on a dance floor. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks very much.
Sorry, what sort of nights out has she had where people are spitting on each other? I've never been have you ever been spat on at a night out? And
no.
I can't remember the last time. Actually, sorry, the last time I did rock the boat was my pre-wedding party. That is, they don't play rock the boat in nightclubs anymore. No, they don't. They don't. When was the last time you heard rock the boat in a nightclub?
At a wedding, actually, at a wedding. The whole wedding party down on the floor.
Okay, yeah, but not in a pub.
It depends on the pub. All right, let's have a listen to one final message. This is Peter.
Hey, good morning to you guys. I spent the whole of last month in Serbia in two places, Belgrade, which is the capital, and Novi Sad, which is, let's say, it's like the second capital. And we were talking 95% of things were open. You could sit down and have a coffee inside. They do have some things there that we don't have and haven't had for a long time. For example, you can smoke indoors in Serbia. Obviously not in hospitals or pharmacies, but in pubs you can smoke indoors. In coffee shops you can smoke indoors. It was so nice. I had to get out of Ireland. I had to escape Ireland. It was so nice. Beautiful weather as well, quite hot. And then I come back to Ireland a couple of weeks ago and people are jumping on you for not wearing a mask in a shop. It's so regulated, so many restrictions. I have to believe Ireland now is a nanny state. And in 7 days, I am going to Poland because they're opening up. They're so far ahead of us. And the thing is, a lot of countries in the world are so far ahead of us. But I don't think a lot of people realize that they're flying ahead of us. We're one of the outliers, definitely in Europe.
All right, Peter, thanks very much indeed for your message.
Apparently, Serbia, 31% of the population has been vaccinated, what I'm reading here. So it's considerably higher than we are here. So that's why they can probably afford to do those things. How's he getting on planes, by the way, and going to all these places? You can only go to Derry. How's he able to go to Poland next week?
Perhaps work. I don't know. Essential work.